Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Nana.Gamiko, and welcome back to another. What I want to talk about? Well, what I want to talk about this time is simple the Yu-Gi-Oh! GX stories. And like, why do you want to talk about those? And it's like, because some of them are pretty damn interesting. The ones I've read out of all of these so far, because I've read a lot of these. Some of these are very freaking interesting, I might add. But for this one, I'm gonna go by a category. Well, not even a category. I want to go by style. Well, not even style really. I just don't know where I want to start with this. But I think the ones I will start with is something I wasn't expecting out of Yu-Gi-Oh! Out of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, especially for a spirit shipping story. I wasn't expecting to find horror mixed in this. Horror, you say? That's kind of a strange concept to be involved in what should be a somewhat easy romantic situation. Well, some of the stories make it pretty interesting. Um, I got a couple that I want to tell you guys about. Let me go ahead and start with the first one. Okay, you guys, here's the first one I really want to start with. This was a story I actually finished a lot recently, and I enjoyed the hell out of it. It's something very personal and something very close to what I really enjoyed as a kid. And if you don't know what this is, don't worry, you'll figure it out in just a minute. This is called The Other Jessie. And if you already have hints of what this is, then bravo to you. You are a very educated moviegoer who enjoyed movies like I did back in the 2010 series. This is a story taken from the idea of Coraline. If you've seen that movie, congratulations. You know exactly what should happen in this story. If you don't, I don't recommend reading this story yet. I recommend you go see the movie first, because as much as the details are different in this movie, as much as the details are different in the story compared to the movie, a lot of things will be given away if you don't exactly watch what happens in the movie and then read this. It's not completely the same, nor would I recommend it being something completely different either. This is basically as bare bones as you could get. Sort of similar. Well, it's basically taking the idea of Coraline and making it something related to GX. And there's only a few entitled characters for this story. You basically got Jaden or Johan. Most of the stories I'm used to, they usually say Johan and Judai, but this one is different because it has their English names. I'm not really particular about it. I don't really care. I like both versions of their names, honest to God, and it doesn't matter to me. But anyway, Jaden falls into a mirror version of his world and meets the other of his boyfriend, the other Jesse. But it becomes a nightmare when the other Jesse refuses to let Jaden go and captures the real Jesse. Will Jaden ever win this and go home? This is exactly how you think it's gonna go. Basically in the same order as the movie does. If you've seen the movie, great, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Again, you can't do this, okay? Okay, here is the full version of the summary that the person put down here, based on the 2009 movie Coraline. While wandering around Duel Academy, Jaden stumbles to a world that's almost a mirror image of his own. There he meets the mirror versions of his friends and a man who looks exactly like his boyfriend Jesse Anderson, only has a dark black buttons for eyes. The other Jesse, as he calls himself, insists that Jaden stays in the other world with them, but Jaden refuses, saying that he can't leave the real Jesse. The other Jesse doesn't like that and captures the real Jesse, forcing Jaden to play a game to the death with the monster wearing his boyfriend's appearance. But is the other Jesse exactly who he says he is? This is a very good horror movie. I will say the prologue alone sets the mood for this. The details in the prologue are as detailed as the beginning moments of the movie. And if you've heard the music from the movie, imagine playing it over this entire chapter. It will give you chills and make you terrified for what's about to happen, because the whole entire time I had trouble reading this. It took me 2 days to read this because, one, I was enjoying every minute of it, and two, it was a little freaky to read. Because it's like, ooh, I'm getting knots in my stomach and all sorts of funny, goody, ugh. It's like, I'm very uncomfortable with the situation. And it's really good. I like it. I love this. The whole thing behind him finding the door to actually end up returning there has nothing to do with any, like, in, if you've seen the movie, the reason Coraline constantly returns to the other world is because she's tired of what's going on in her own world, and her parents are a little strict or uneasy. They're busy all the time, and she wants their attention and such. Well, it's not the same with this. The reason Jaden keeps returning there, well, after, of course, the initial visit, is because it's out of complete and utter curiosity. I speculate that entirely because otherwise there would be no reason to actually go there again, because hell, he's got his real boyfriend, and there's this guy with fake face and everything in a world that shouldn't even fucking exist. Yeah, so it's like, good on you, Jaden. You're a complete piece of shit who let curiosity nearly kill him. Kill him and his boyfriend, of course. Ugh. But this is really interesting, to say the least. I enjoy it because it's got great chills, and basically the story delivery is very bone chilling and interesting, and very enjoyable as well. I can't go into too much details about it because the whole thing is about atmosphere, and if I give anything away, it takes away what goes on in the story. It's just that interesting of a horror situation that I really recommend you guys to actually check this one out. I will definitely leave this in the description in the description for you guys to check this out. Anyway, let's get on to the next one. I have a couple more to do. Okay, you guys, here's the second one. This one has a sequel to it, though. Murderer's Playhouse. Judah has a nightmare about a torture chamber. At first, it's just a simple nightmare. But what happens when the contents of his nightmare become a reality? Does Duel Academy actually hold a dark secret that no one knows about until now? This is an interesting sort of thing. This is horror and supernatural mixed together. So there's ghosts, there's monsters, and then there's just a total and utter creep factor to this whole thing. This has only got 10 chapters, and it's got literally 10,000 words going for it. You guys can read this shit. This was pretty short of a story. This person only finished it within the same month, nearly a fucking week. Wow. 10 days, man. 10 days. It took you 10 days to write this whole damn thing? God. Well, I can't complain. I took way less time writing my shit, but I digress. This is a very interesting one because According to the comments I read about this, this is basically based on an event that happens in another anime. Uh, True Ghost Stories, I think it was called. Something that wasn't very relative or something that wasn't very known about. It's basically that happening in this. It's a very creepy kind of story. I'm sorry, I heard a thud against my window that scared me for a moment. It's like, no. Don't be talking about creepy stuff for Halloween already. But yeah, this story is pretty dark, pretty creepy, and pretty gruesome. It's all if you guys ever heard about the story of Vlad the Impaler, there was a person that basically recreated his stuff talked about in the story, and he's the reason behind Jaden's nightmares. There's ghosts all over the place, and there's even possession. Yes, someone gets fucking possessed in this shit. It is crazy. And if you can't already guess who that is, then you're smart. Because it's obvious who's gonna get fucking possessed in this shit. But anyway, this is really interesting. The sequel is a little not great at this. This one has more suspense, and this one has a bit more tone to it. While the other one is a bit more of a rushed out thing, it still has the horror aspect in it. But let's get to the sequel so I can talk to you guys more about it. Okay, here we go. Spirit's Playhouse. After the Villiander incident, Jedi wonders why he was the only one possessed. There we go. It already ticked you off, didn't it? He learns why, but it's far worse than he could have imagined. How could one forget selling his soul to a demon? Sequel to Murder's Playhouse. But yeah, that summary says everything. The author should have been a little more discreet on what was actually going on in this damn thing, because you just basically spoiled the whole thing in one fat sentence. But I'm spoiling it anyway by even talking about it, so what the hell? I don't even care. The story is I want to say it's heavy possession porn. It's Jaden constantly getting possessed. Like there's like maybe 5 whole chapters dedicated to him just getting possessed. And it's not no, that's the wrong word. He practically gets possessed the whole story. And it's up to Jesse and his friends to somehow break him out of the possession and get rid of the demon that wants his soul, because according to this story, the only way to break the curse of him having his soul possessed by a demon is for him to lose the V. And yes, there's a scene of that going on in here, and I will say, out of a lot of the stories I read, I'm still not used to the explicit scenes yet. I've read probably 30 of these stories, and at least 10 or 15 of them each had that in it. But almost all of them were written by the same author, so I digress. So it was still surprising for this to have that in it, but it's interesting. It's a good story. It ends good, and just the fact that it revolves around his virginity is pretty funny and messed up in a way. But let's go ahead and go to the next one. Okay, you guys, I think this might be the last one I will talk about. This one is less suspense, though it's kind of horror-ish. It's suspense, but it's more mystery based. isn't. I thought it was more horror-ish, at least especially the way the story is being told. I thought it was gonna be more horror-ish, but I'm gonna feature it here because I have nowhere else I could put it. Because it's not anything completely romantic either. God, the romance is played so low, it's not even there. Anyway, this is Motive for Murder. Jaden is horrified to discover that his friends are being killed one by one and searches for a link. When he finds it, he realizes that he's next. And yeah, there's light shipping in this. Very light shipping, by the way. I don't even want to fucking mention it. It's so light, it's barely there. It's like one couple sentences mentioned, and then bam. Ugh. And yes, the warning on here. Character death. That will tip you off right away, because I wish they didn't tip that off, because the surprise alone would have been wonderfully done. This is 21 chapters, 15,000 words, and it's got pretty good reviews all over the place on it. This is basically a murder mystery going on. Everyone is a target for something. Is being targeted by an unknown force on the island. I won't say who gets killed first, and I won't say who ends up being the last one killed before Jaden ends up being the target. And I won't tell you what's behind it, because that gives everything away for towards the ending of the story. Let's just say that it's not as expected as you would think it would be. And the resolve for it is very sad indeed. Trying to find out the murderer and the school, apparently, which has had a reoccurrence over the years of the school being around, at least. And it's kind of sad. Well, the story itself is pretty damn interesting and kind of saddening. The character deaths, well, are surprising and come basically by surprise. Each one who ends up dying. It's depressing when the aftermath of it happens, because it takes time for the characters to actually express the deaths. But as more deaths occur, it spends less time focusing on it and more trying to figure out who is behind it right away before the next person ends up dropping dead. And it's good. It's a good read. It's a very good read. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was interesting as hell. But I could leave that up to you guys. You guys check this out. If you enjoy character deaths. I don't really expect or enjoy character deaths, but you guys figure it out and you tell me. I'll leave this here, you guys. This is for Halloween and some nice spooks and scares and all that wonderfulness that you guys might want to enjoy. Just a little spooky treat for Halloween. I'll see you guys in the next video.